The single most important thing on your website is the headline. In this episode of the Brand Nerd Podcast, we're going to go over what makes a good website headline. What up, nerds? Welcome back to the Brand Nerd Podcast. I am excited to talk to you today about something I spend a lot of time thinking about, which is website headlines. The goal of any website is to turn browsers into buyers. The more browsers we can turn into buyers, the more effective our website, the more revenue we have. And so the first thing they're going to read when they land on your website is the headline. That's why it's so important. This is the single most important thing about your website. How long do you think people spend on your website? Well, the average time on a B2C website, business to consumer website, is about 54 seconds. A B2B website is about 1 minute, 22 seconds. So let's just, for the sake of argument, say you have 1 minute. Whether or not somebody sticks around for a minute or longer largely depends on if what they are reading is compelling to them, if it captures their attention, if it speaks to them as relevant. So what makes a good website headline? How do we invite them into our website and keep them looking around and ultimately get them to press the buy now button? The first principle I want you to think about when it comes to your headline is clarity. You need to be clear about what it is that you do, what you're offering people. Otherwise, they'll be confused and leave. So many times in business, we're tempted to use jargon or be super clever or kind of beat around the bush. But what we need to do is we need to be direct. We need to be clear. We need to tell people exactly what we do. Clarity beats clever. Clarity obviously beats confusing. Now, if you can be clever and clear at the same time, go for it. But be careful, because sometimes what you think is clever and clear is actually confusing. The second thing I want you to think about is how to be compelling. A lot of people try to be compelling by being clever. We just went over that. But an effective headline should be engaging and interesting, but that doesn't necessarily mean clever. You should use action words like create, achieve, transform. People are drawn to these words. You could use questions or a provocative statement, something that raises their emotions a little bit. At the end of the day, when we're clear and compelling, that's a powerful combination, and it invites people into the story of our website. The third principle I want you to consider, not every headline has to be this, but it's something that's very powerful, and it's one of my favorite principles in marketing, and that is to get philosophical. What are the things that are going on in their life that are just plain wrong? What are the things that grind their gears? What are the things that they just know there has to be a better way? They need to get this problem off of their plate. Those are the things that hit with people on such an internal level that they just go, yes, and they're in. The fourth principle I want you to consider is to focus on success. Focus on that bright picture, that future where everything has worked out for the best, where their problem is solved because you've entered the picture. We can also look at this as an identity transformation, a changing of states from a lesser state to a better state. This could be a financial state. It could be a physical state. It could be an emotional state. Paint a picture of what the future looks like if they work with you. And I'll say this too, people are either motivated by going towards success or they're motivated by running away from failure. So if you've listened to some of my videos on StoryBrand, you'll know that failure is something we like to sprinkle into the recipe a little bit. But sometimes this can even go into your headline, especially if you're in a field like cybersecurity, pest control, credit repair. These are fear-based industries. You don't want your identity stolen. You don't want bugs in your house. You don't want your credit score to get so low that you can't move and you're paralyzed financially. The number 5 principle I want you to consider is be concise. Too many words are a turnoff for people. Your headline should be short and something people can read at a glance. This often means using no more than 10 words. Keep it concise, keep it clear, keep it compelling. Number 6, consider your target audience. Companies are not everything to all people. They have ideal clients. That's something that we preach over and over again at Brand Nerd is who are your ideal clients? Use language that they use in your headline. Talk about their interests, talk about their needs. Understanding your audience can help you craft a headline that really hooks them right at the top. The 7th principle is something a little bit more pragmatic, and that is considering search keywords. What do you want people to search to find your business? What are people searching for when they find your business? These are questions that you need to know the answer to. And by taking those keywords and putting them in your headline, that's actually one of the things that Google looks at first when it's scanning a web page to rank it, is what's in the title. Including these relevant keywords in your headline can improve search engine optimization, known as SEO, and it helps more people find your business. The last principle I want to talk about is something called the grunt test. Every headline, every hero on a website should answer 3 questions. What do you do? How does it make my life better? And how do I get it? These 3 questions are the most important questions your customers are asking. Even if they don't necessarily know that's what they're asking, that's what their brain is doing. It's saying, what is this? How does it make my life better? And how do I get it? And your answers should be so clear, so compelling, so concise that they can't help but immediately understand what they're looking at and then scroll on for more. Again, remember, people are glancing at your website. They might have 5 more tabs open with competitors' businesses, and they're searching through. If they get to yours and they're confused, or they don't resonate with what you're saying, or it sounds like it's not written for them, they're going to click the little X on your tab and you are out of consideration. That's why your headline is so important, and that's why it's important to consider all of these things when you're going through a headline writing process. Of course, the best way to develop a great website headline is to use a proven messaging framework like the StoryBrand framework. And at Brand Nerd, we're certified to do that. We'd love to work with you. In fact, we have an awesome product called the StoryBrand Sprint. And if you go to storybrandsprint.com, you'll see that we can help you get your message clear fast in as little as 1 day. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Brand Nerd Podcast. If you like these shorter, more concise episodes, let us know on YouTube at Deploy the Nerds. Leave a comment, like, subscribe. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you again next week. Until then, stay curious.